leadership personally for me, I think my approach is, if I can put it in 3 words to kind of capture it, it is curiosity, resilience, and connection. So those are kind of the 3 pillars that govern or, are at the forefront of my mind when I think of leadership and engaging with my team. So curiosity is like, I don't think you can problem solve if you're not curious enough to know enough about it. There could be, you make short-sighted decisions, and similar when your teams come to you with ideas or, opportunities that you are not aware of. If you're not curious enough, you're going to shut them down much sooner than, engaging them to see what has to fall out of it. In terms of resilience, I think that's a muscle all of us stretched a lot in 2020. And it's basically, I think, almost, a mindset you need to have going forward as a leader, given that there is a COVID pandemic, but also we are working in an environment where technology is changing at a very fast speed. So if you're not resilient, it's going to be very hard for you to adapt and keep up with those changes. And I think last, but the most important piece is connection for me. And that is encompassing trust between, team members and me and my team, empathy, collaboration, and communication. So it's, that's kind of how I make most of my decisions as a leader, keeping these 3 ideas on the forefront. Choose to challenge. I think when I think choose to challenge, I think we should challenge the norm that it's too late to start something. So that's the, especially as a woman, you're like, okay, if you're a mom and you've committed yourself to taking care of your children for, till they are a little bit more independent, you look back and you think, well, is it too late for me to start a new career or to pick up a new skill or an interest? So that's the norm that I think I choose to challenge. I think learning and growth does not stop when school ends, or it's a continuous process. So, and I think when I look at from a corporate and career perspective, some of the buzzwords that we think or hear these days constantly are upskilling and reskilling. So now taking the same choose to challenge theme and tying up with these things, I think the problem, or what I'm thinking about, is how do we engage women so that we are enabling them and creating opportunities for them to be able to upskill and reskill, given all the various portfolio of things that they're already doing, which means that they're spending more time taking things at home, still committed to their children, and also trying to advance their career. So what do we need to change in our work environment, or how do we go about solving that problem so they are a participant into it and are not missing the opportunity that their peers are getting? I think if men are more vocal maybe and stepping up into that role where they're choosing to challenge the bias and inequality that they see, and also creating a safe work environment, that would be of immense value. At a professional level, I did have a lot of mentoring when I was a teacher for the CA module that is in Canada. So, and also like for peers writing exams. So during that time, and then, as a leader, you're continually mentoring your teams and, kind of paving the path forward and exchanging ideas and just making them aware and giving them food for thought to kind of be more open to how they perceive and how they analyze things. So I think that's kind of what I would have to say. So I think that's a mixed bag. We, there are various studies that show actually women have been at the losing end of this pandemic when it comes to, taking on more workload at home and losing more jobs. Some primarily due to like the nature and the industries that the pandemic hit, like entertainment, restaurants, those segments. But I do think that, there is always an opportunity in the failure. So it's one of those things. And it also ties back to, something I kind of touched upon previously is like, how do we engage and reorganize so that we are enabling and creating platforms where women also have the opportunity to participate in upskilling and reskilling if that's what they want, right? I think the choice is of course in their hands, but there are some things that technology enables that can ease the participation, but it will also require organizations to rethink some of things. Maybe there has to be more flexibility around the work schedule, or understanding that there is a work-home balance that is more important for women than it might be for their male counterparts. So I think it would be would have to be a handshake between the employee and the organization, and there will have to be some changes and reorganization that would be needed on both sides to kind of make it a win-win. I think it kind of definitely starts at the top, the leadership and the leaders that the leadership creates. Because, the message that I am giving to my team leads, to my managers on a daily basis, and how they reverberate that downstream is extremely important. So if I am vocal about making sure that we are being fair, if regardless of gender, men or women, if they need some flexibility, which is reasonable, we are providing for that, then I think it's, it makes a huge impact. So I think the biggest has to be with, when you're working with people, it's what you inculcate in your team and how that resonates throughout the team. I think that's the most important aspect of this. But that would be like just words and not action. I think that kind of sets the tone for the culture, but then you have to enable or have policies and practices in place which can materialize that. So, when we speak about hiring and recruiting, are we being biased in like giving an opportunity to a male candidate versus a female candidate, right? And then going back to my point about leadership and awareness is like what you tell your managers and how do they execute downstream. The other thing that I can think of is, and I think this is very important, is being able to create a safe work environment. I can't emphasize that enough. I think, if women, a lot of them probably don't pursue an opportunity or a career path because they don't feel, in a safe environment, or they feel that there is a bias where their career is not going to be, they're not going to have that much metal behind their career as it would be for a male counterpart. So I think creating a safe work environment, and then just making sure that if you have assignments or opportunities, that you're being mindful when they are being assigned to, to the group, that it's based on merit, and there is also clear communication around how the decision was made. All of those things I think can play together, to help bridge bridge the gap. Also evaluating performance metrics and the salary scale, right, for the same peer. So that I think is more concrete when I talk about how do we bridge the pay gap between a male and a female worker. I think it's a work in progress. I will share a couple of things that I personally do that I think help me. First of all, or one practice that I started was meditation. And I know this seems like also another buzzword, but I really do feel that it helps me ground and the 5-10 minutes, it doesn't have to be a lot, but just the 5-10 minutes of that time really kind of anchors and sets the stage for me, so I know how I'm going to go about my day. The other thing I find that it does is it really helps making you just much more calmer. So, even if like after that, the next thing I hear is there is a disaster or fire that has to go out, I feel that I'm much more capable of and able to kind of get, throw the water on the fire, whatever the solution I have to come up with much more ease than versus feeling a little bit more panic. So I think just that mindset is really important. The other thing that I say is, try to use your different muscles. And when I say this is not like physical muscles, but just like even parts of your brain. So if you're always doing something that is related to numbers or people, try to do something that's a little bit more creative. So kind of get outside of your comfort zone. I think that kind of helps, with this. And last but not the least, I think it's to, I'm super organized and, I have a journal where I kind of put down right after my morning meditation, what are the 5-10 things that I need to prioritize on? And this is for a day and then for the week. And then I'm trying to always see, okay, did I spend enough time in this area of my work or this area of my personal life and so forth. So I think that also kind of helps me give a sense of what I want to do and am I covering everything that's really important to me. So those are some of the things that I do to kind of, just stay organized and then keep myself accountable. I would say personally, I have experienced this in other spheres where, like it was part of education or, like I play sports, so in sports or, other areas. I think the way that I managed that was, you just get better at what you do. So don't, this is a time where I say that, you have to kind of work on your resilience muscle. Like, to be honest, like if I had listened to everybody, what, some of the male individuals that I had experience with would, if I just kind of went with what they said, I wouldn't be here for sure. And there would be very many things that I would have just given up on. So I think you just kind of have to believe in yourself. That's like extremely important. And this is a time you go back to your community and do the check-in, to make sure that you have people that have your back, and then they are there to be your soundboard. Like, is this really true or is it just a bias, right? Am I trying to do like, I'm saying, trying to develop a new relativity theory? Is it going to be feasible? Or am I being reasonable in my ask? And, like, how does that play out? So I think, develop your resilience muscle. I think it's like almost critical if you are to pave a path in any field and you want to really excel. And, have your community behind you, because those two, I think, will kind of help you deal with the noise, is what I call it, because I think a lot of it doesn't have merit and it's just a way to kind of either make excuse or, actually maybe be intimidated by what you can achieve. I think my first message would be pick something that you're really passionate about, and don't worry about the background noise. And that is not only in terms of career, but also other interests that you have, so, kind of, if you do things that you're passionate about, it really helps you build, I feel it helps you build your resilience, which is absolutely necessary because you are going to face challenges. And there are going to be times where you're going to be like, well, is it worth it or not, right? And those are the times where you kind of will have to dig deep, and hopefully you're surrounded by a good community that can help you steer the way forward. I think the other aspect that I wanted to emphasize for women that are just starting their careers or are thinking about re-entering the workforce is it's very important to create a community of like maybe other women or men that is supportive of what you want to do and can help enable your career or just be kind of your soundboard, outside of your core kind of like core team, which is your family and everything else, right? So I do think that is very important for your development, not only from a career perspective, but also just having these resources that you can lean on and when you need guidance.